Day 157 of doing a LeetCode problem every day until I get a job. All right, y'all, we're back again another day, another LeetCode problem. I hope y'all are still motivated to keep going because we have a long way to go, y'all. But even if y'all are not still motivated, I hope y'all are at least still staying consistent and staying disciplined because that's what it's going to take to get to the end of this journey, y'all. We're all on the same LeetCode journey, even though we may be at different parts of the journey, y'all. So we all have to encourage each other to keep going and keep putting one foot in front of the other until we accomplish our goals, y'all. This stuff is not easy, and it can get hard, but it's only going to get hard if you let it. If you don't keep trying and you give up. If you don't give up, then you'll find out you'll find a way to make it work, and you'll also continue to learn and increase your knowledge of programming in the Swift programming language, y'all. So I encourage y'all to keep going. If you're feeling burnt out or you're feeling like you're just not as motivated as you used to be, don't worry, y'all. Just push through, keep going, because when you accomplish your goals at the end, it will all be worth it. So before we get started today, y'all, don't forget, bring a mouse. Bring a mouse right over here, and click that subscribe button for me, y'all. Then after you click that subscribe button, go ahead and smash that like button for me, y'all. Then after you smash that like button, I'm calling all of my bankers. I repeat, all of my bankers to the comment section right now. I need y'all to drop 2 bank emojis in the comment section so we can run up this engagement and push this content out to a broader audience, y'all. As Swift community members, it's up to us to help the community to grow. And in order to do that, we need to share this Swift content with as many people as we could find that will watch it or that is actually interested in learning about Swift. So y'all support is appreciated when it comes to that. Now, let's get into the question. And today we have question number 219, contains duplicate 2. Yesterday we did contains duplicate 1. This is a little bit more tricky, but it's still an easy problem, so don't worry. We're still going to keep the solution as easy and simple and possible to understand, because we're all here trying to learn something. And if you don't understand the code by the end of this video, then you probably didn't learn anything, and that is not what we want. So let's get into the question and see what it says. So it says, given an integer array nums and an integer k, return true if there are 2 distinct indices I and j in the array such that nums of I is equal to nums of j, and the absolute value of I minus j is less than or equal to k. So let's break that down. First thing we need to remember, right, is when we see nums of I like this, or nums with the I in the square brackets, or nums with the j in the square brackets, that's going to represent the element in the array, right? So that's going to represent these right here, these numbers or these integers that we see. When we see just I minus j without the nums in front, it's just straight I and straight j, that represents the indices, right? So that's going to represent index 0 or index 1, index 2. It's not representing the elements, it's representing the indexes, right? And then this absolute, so we want to see if the absolute value of I minus j is less than or equal to k. So the absolute value, what that means is if, let's just say it's I is 0 and j is 3, right? Like in example 1, I is j, so it'd be 0 minus 3. 0 minus 3 is going to give us negative 3, but we want the absolute value, so negative 3 becomes 3 because that's the absolute value, right? So just keep that in mind as well when we're going through these questions. We want the absolute value, not just the regular value. So let's get into example 1 so we can see what they're talking about and make all this make sense. So in example 1, we have the input nums equals an array of integers 1, 2, 3, and 1. K equals 3. The output is true. The output is true because if we look at 1, first we see the duplicates are, we have a 1 right here and we have a 1 right here. This one is at indice 0, and this one is at indice 3. Remember, so we're subtracting 0 minus 3, because I minus j, right? So 0 minus 3 is going to give us negative 3. That's where the absolute value comes in. So the absolute value of negative 3 is 3, right? And 3 is equal to k. And because what we want is it to be less than or equal to k. In this example, it's equal to k, so we can return true. Now, let's look at example 2, which could be a little bit more tricky just in case that didn't make sense. So in example 2, we have the input nums. It equals an array of integers 1, 0, 1, 1, and then k equals 1, right? The output is true. So if you look, the output is true. So if you look at this, you see a 1 right here, and this is where it gets tricky because you see a 1 right here and a 1 right here, right? So we have a 1 at index 0 and we have a 1 at index 2. When you do 0 minus 2, that's going to give us negative 2. The absolute value of negative 2 is going to give us 2. 2 is greater than k, right? Because k equals 1. So that does not fit this requirement of it being less than or equal to k because 2 is greater than k. However, this is where the tricky part comes in. We also have a 1 right here. So when we do these two 1s right here, these two 1s are at index, so we have 0, 1. These two 1s are index 0 at index 2 and 3. This is index 2 and this is index 3. So when we do 2 minus 3, that's going to give us negative 1. When we get the absolute value of negative 1, that's going to give us 1, which in this case is equal to k, so we can return true because of these two 1s, not this one right here. Even though that's a duplicate as well, we're worried about these two 1s to still make our output true. So that's why the output is true in that example. So let's look at example 3. In example 3, we have the input nums equals an array of integers 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This time k equals 2, right? And the output is false because if we go through all these and check all the duplicates, we have a 0. At index 0, we have a 1, and at index 1, 2, 3. Index 0, we have a 1, and index 3, we have a 1. So we have a 1 right here, index 3, and a 1 right here, index 0. 0 minus 3 is going to give us negative 3. The absolute value of negative 3 is 3. 3 is greater than 2, so that's going to return. That doesn't check out, doesn't fit the requirement. So we're going to move down because we also have a 2 right here and a 2 right here. So we have a 2 at index 1, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have a 2 at index 1, and we have a 2 at index 4, right? So 1 minus 4 is also going to give us negative 3 again. The absolute value of negative 3 is 3, and 3 is greater than k, which is 2, so it doesn't fit that requirement as well. But we still have duplicate 3s. We have a 3 right here, index 2, and we have a 3 right here, index 5. 2 minus 5 gives us negative 3 again. Absolute value of 3 is 3, which is not less than or equal to k, which is 2. So that's why the output is false in this example 3. So that's how the question works. Now that we understand how the question works, let's get into the code, the part that all keeps us going and keeps us motivated and keeps us excited to get up in the morning. Let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a guard statement. We're going to say guard. Then we'll do exclamation point nums dot is empty. Else we're going to return false or not empty because that's what the exclamation point. So if nums is empty, we're going to return false, but that's just if it's empty. If it's not empty, then we're just going to keep going and continue with our code, right? So then we're going to declare a variable, and we're going to call that variable dict, short for dictionary, put the colon, open up the square brackets, we're going to put int, colon, int. So it's going to be a dictionary of integers. We're going to initialize it with a blank dictionary like so. Then we're going to come down here, we're going to say for, open up the parentheses, index, comma, value, n. Then we'll come out the parentheses, say n, nums dot enumerated. Now this enumerated is going to get us the index and the values, which is why we have both of those right here. So it's going to return the index, say for this example, right? It's going to return index 0, and it's going to return the 1 for the value. So the index will be 0 and the value will be 1. That's what this enumerated does. It's going to get us the index and the value, which is what we need to complete this solution that we're doing right here. So we're going to come outside the enumerated, open up the brackets, and then we're going to say if let element, short for element, is equal to dict, open up the square brackets, value, comma, ABS, open up the parentheses, index minus elem, then is less than or equal to K. So that's how we're going to check to see if it fits our requirements right here. Boom. Then we are going to say, open up the brackets, we're going to say return true if it fits those requirements. Then we're going to come down here and we are going to say dict, open up the square brackets, value. Then we're going to come outside that, we'll say equals index. Then we're going to come underneath that and we are going to say, let me see, come underneath that and we're going to say return true. Now, let's run it, see how it runs. Make sure it runs like it's supposed to. Wrong answer. What happened? So let's see what happened. Somehow we went, oh, excuse me, y'all. This should be return false, not return true. Sorry about that. Let's run it again. See if it still runs properly. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. And there it is, y'all. It's accepted. So let's submit it. Let's submit it. Drum roll, please. And it's accepted, y'all. There it goes. 278 milliseconds beats 71.89% of users with Swift, y'all. Not too bad at all. And I feel like this is a good solution because remember, we're doing a month of easy hash table problems before we start the top 100 interview questions. And this is a good hash table problem. I feel like easy to understand, so we can learn how to do hash maps and work with dictionaries as we continue down our LeetCode journey and we continue to build these fundamentals and strengthen our foundation that we can build off of, y'all. So I hope y'all learned something today, and I hope to see y'all tomorrow for another day, another LeetCode problem. See you then.